What's up everybody, Nate here. So I have a secret I want to share with you. There's a company called Paramo that makes rain gear, but not the kind of rain gear that you're used to seeing. And this, the Paramo Velez jacket, has completely changed how I think about staying dry in the backcountry. And although Paramo has existed for over 30 years, chances are you've probably never heard of them. Until now. And here's the wild part. Their approach to keeping you dry completely breaks the rules of all modern rain gear. No membranes, no Gore-Tex, no plasticky shells. It goes against everything we've come to expect as hikers and backpackers, yet it still works. And to understand how and why that matters, we first have to discuss how membrane rain gear like Gore-Tex works and why it will ultimately fail you at some point during your hike. The vast majority of rain gear you're used to seeing and using utilizes some sort of membrane to keep you dry. Now, this membrane has one huge and fatal flaw. It doesn't breathe well. And because of this, you are often getting wet from sweat you're producing when you hike. So it's your choice. You either get wet from the rain or wet from your sweat. And either way, it's a lose-lose scenario that's apt to leave you cold, clammy, and in the right conditions, potentially even hypothermic. And if you were to ask experienced hikers and backpackers what their biggest gripe is about membrane-based rain gear, most of them would agree. It's the lack of breathability. And manufacturers know this, which is why you see a lot of mechanical venting, pit zips, side zips, back flaps added to their rain jackets. It's the only real way to dump the heat you're generating, but even that's not enough to keep you dry from the sweat you're producing. Realizing this, Paramo went to work developing a system that would keep you dry from both liquid sweat and rain. And I'm here to say they have done it. Paramo has flat out ditched the waterproof membrane, the part of your traditional rain jacket that keeps water out but also traps sweat in. And instead they use a tightly woven polyester outer fabric that, when it's treated with Nikwax, which happens to be their sister company by the way, becomes highly water resistant. But that's just the beginning. Inside the jacket is what Paramo calls a pump liner. This is the real magic. It's a directional fabric that actively moves liquid moisture like sweat away from your body using capillary action. That moisture gets pushed outward towards the face fabric where it either evaporates from your body heat or continues to diffuse through the outer layer. Think of the pump liner like a one-way superhighway for sweat. Sweat gets pulled away from your body while the jacket actively blocks rain from entering. And the result is no more clammy, cold, or soggy feelings, just dry, comfortable hiking. Even during high exertion efforts like steep elevation gains, where like traditional rain gear would normally trap heat and leave you drenched in sweat. And while the Velez already breathes far better than any other membrane-based jacket, Paramo takes it a step further with mechanical vents on the arms and on your chest, giving you even more control to release excess body heat exactly when and where you need it. And because of the pump liner and the built-in venting control, the Velez also functions as more than just a rain shell. It doubles as a light insulative layer, trapping just enough warmth to stay comfortable during chilly hikes without the need to constantly layer up or down. It's a great multifunctional jacket, and it's not just a rain layer. Also worth noting, Paramo has been PFAS-free since the beginning, long before it became a broader industry concern. And that's something I really respect. Now, I've been testing the Velez for a couple of months, and man, I've been putting it through its paces on multiple hikes in all kinds of wet conditions. Other than a bit of dampness on my back from my pack, which is pretty much inevitable, I was blown away by how well the Velez handled everything Mother Nature threw at it and everything I threw at it too. Cool temps, driving rain, freezing rain, biting winds, steep elevation gains, it just kept performing. It shed rain like a champ, breathed better than any rain jacket I've ever worn, and it also managed to keep me dry and comfortable through it all. Honestly, I kept waiting for this jacket to fail, but it just never did. And I know on some of those steep elevation climbs, I would have been sweating buckets in my outdoor research shell. That really says a lot about what the Velez is doing. It manages internal moisture incredibly well while still keeping the rain out. I'm genuinely impressed with how this jacket performs, and I literally cannot overstate that enough. And on top of that, the Velez is just so dang freaking comfortable. The polyester is soft, it's flexible, and it's super tough. I even took a fall when I was wearing it and I expected to see a tear, but nothing. It held up awesome. And because there's no membrane involved, if it did rip, I could literally stitch this jacket up and it would still retain its ability to shed water. That's something I find seriously impressive, not to mention a win for durability and sustainability. Now, although I'm generally impressed with the performance of the Velez, there are some clear downsides that keep it from being the perfect rain jacket. First, the cost, it's around $400, so it's a premium jacket. And sure, I mean, there are other membrane-based jackets that cost just as much, but there are also plenty of cheaper options that will get the job done just fine. Like a simple poncho, for example, will breathe better than most rain jackets while still keeping you dry. Second, the pump liner. While it's fantastic for pulling moisture away from your body and keeping you dry, it also acts as an insulation layer. And that makes the Velez too warm for mild to hot weather. I personally wouldn't wear it in temps over 60 degrees, but in cool, cold, wet conditions, it's absolutely outstanding. Third, waterproofing. So without a traditional membrane, the jacket may wet out more easily under very hard and sustained rain. Paramo says that's pretty rare, and if it happens, the pump liner will still keep pulling any moisture away from your body to help prevent, that soggy, clammy feel, but it is something to consider. And finally, the weight. The Velez comes in at 21 ounces, which is super heavy compared to most other rain shells. And a majority of that weight comes from the pump liner itself. And as someone who often goes ultralight, that's a tough to nearly impossible trade-off for me, but it might be worth it depending on your conditions and your priorities. So who's this jacket really for? If you're hiking or backpacking in cool to cold, wet conditions, especially in the fall, winter, or spring shoulder seasons, I think the Paramo Velez is absolutely worth considering. It is too warm for hot summer days, but for those cooler shoulder seasons and colder months, it really shines. However, it's not going to be the right fit for everyone. It's heavier, warmer, more expensive than a lot of other options out there. And if your gear philosophy is going ultralight, or you're mostly out in warm, dry climates, this probably won't make much sense for you. For me, I'll be using it during the deep winter months when base weight is already harder to trim down anyways. For that season, it feels like the perfect fit. Now, if you've tried Paramo gear before, let me know how it's worked for you in the comments. Or if this is your first time hearing about it and you're curious, drop me a question down below. Give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you want more honest, no fluff, outdoor gear breakdowns like this one. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.
Man, this jacket's heavy, but god dang, dude. Yeah, it's well and dry on the inside. Nice.